Hello, everyone. A very good afternoon to you if you are joining us from Asia, and a good evening to you if you are joining from Australia, and a very good morning to you if you are joining from Europe. Today, we are excited to begin the individual presentation round 5 for the ASEFClassNet17 faculty collaboration on learning about AI and learning with AI. And today we have 6 brilliant speakers, 5 from our very own National Institute of Education in Singapore from Nanyang Technological University, and 1 speaker from Europe from Cyprus Pedagogical Institute. So let's first get to know the session format. As you are aware, we have the project proposal deadline coming soon. So we have some reminders for you that we have already covered during the last session. And then, of course, the speaker introduction and then the individual presentation. We will close the session with what's coming next. So some of you have already reached out asking some clarifying questions on the project proposal. So we're very glad to see that, there is enthusiasm and then some brilliant ideas already forming. So if you are proposing a project, this is a quick reminder for you. The deadline is 15th of July, Monday. And we request you to send the projects that you were proposing in through this email, that's my email, by completing the template that we have shared. And then if you want to join a project, we request you to be patient so that once we, compile all the proposed projects and can create a sign-up sheet and then share that with you. So this is very simple. If you are proposing a project, deadline is 15th of July. And for joining a project, if you are not proposing, then please wait for a notification from us for further steps. And some of you have shared your interest to co-propose a project, meaning you don't want to propose a project on your own. You want to partner with another participants, either from Asia, Europe, or even your own institution. So in that way, we kindly request you to write an email to us so that we know we can connect, both of you or connect the interested parties together. Because of GDPR and GDPR and PDPR, we need to be a bit careful how we share the data. So it would be great if you let us know, then we will connect you officially with each other. Just a quick reminder on the category. So if you are proposing a project that covers the research aspect, then that's your category. If you are doing, for example, a symposium, webinar series, or conference, online conference, virtual sessions, that falls under events category. If you are focusing on curriculum, designing curriculum either for teachers or for students, that's your category. And then if you're thinking of something that does not fall under any of these 3 categories, then you can propose a project under the wildcard. If you have any questions, maybe here I can pause for a minute, then I can clarify, any concerns or any questions that you may have. Let's see the list. You can raise your hand or you can just unmute yourself and speak up. Any questions at all on the projects? I don't see any hands raised, so I am trusting that all of you are very well aware. That's very good. Now let's move on to our presentation part, the most exciting part of today's session. So the questions for presentations today are the same as usual. So the first question will be on how does your institution approach learning about AI and learning with AI? And the second one on what specific aspects of AI do you consider most crucial to address in teacher education at this moment? So for the first question, we are having an institutional presentation. So for example, today we have 5 colleagues from National Institute of Education, Singapore. Only one of them will address this question. And then the second one is more at individual level. So we'll hear from each speakers about what they think. So today we have 1 speaker from Europe and 5 speakers from Asia. So it is my pleasure to introduce each of them to you. So from Asia, from National Institute of Education, Nanyang Technological University. From Singapore, we have Professor Sang Chi Tan, Dr. David Huang, Dr. Lung Xiang Wong, Dr. Ibrahim Yeter, and Dr. Kenneth Lim. So Dr. Kenneth and Dr. Ibrahim, they apologize that they cannot join today's session live. However, they kindly recorded their presentation, and our speaker, Dr. David Wong, he will support us to share their videos. And then from Europe, we have Dr. Theodora Kakori. She's currently associated with the Cyprus Pedagogical Institute, a part of the Ministry of Education, Sport and Youth organization from Cyprus. Now, let me invite our first speaker for today to deliver his presentation, Professor Sang-Chi Tan, Associate Dean from the National Institute of Education, Nanyang Technological University, Singapore. Professor Tan, the floor is yours. I'm going to stop sharing my screen.
Hi, good afternoon, everyone. My name is Sang-Chi. I'm Associate Dean in the National Institute of Education, Nanyang Technological University, Singapore. On behalf of my colleague, let me give you a very quick introduction of NIE. NIE was founded in 1950. It has been playing a very key role in shaping and developing Singapore's teaching workforce since 1950, so for 4 years by now. It started off as a Teachers Training College, TTC, evolved into Institute of Education in 1973, and since 1991 it was called National Institute of Education, or in short, NIE. And NIE is the only teacher development education institute in Singapore. It's the only one that can certify teaching workforce in Singapore. And we work in close partnership with the Ministry of Education as well as schools in Singapore. I'd like to also share that in 2022, we launched AI at NIE Blueprint before the launch of ChatGPT. So we anticipate that AI will play a greater role in education. So we launched AI at NIE, and it has three major goals. One is to transform teaching and learning with NIE, within NIE with AI, advance research, and also build a ecosystem that is viable and sustainable for AI at NIE goals. So some of these projects are ongoing. I'll share with you, for instance, we did a lot of community building projects within NIE. We offer in-service courses to the teachers in schools in Singapore. We organize talks and workshops within NIE. We actually have a data empowerment program, an AI empowerment program, and all these programs basically get the staff, both teaching staff and support staff in NIE, to think about how they can use data productively in their work and in teaching and learning and in research. So we basically ask participants to propose the ideas, and we employ technical staff with AI knowledge to work with them to make the projects live. We also have foundation course for all the teachers in Singapore in collaboration with AI in Singapore, AISG, AI Singapore, to launch this course. And we also participate in other international community, for instance, Empowering Learners in AI 2023. There's actually an international symposium. Okay, so there's a very brief introduction to NIE and our AI effort. To address the questions for this presentation, how does the Institute approach learning about AI and learning with AI? And the second question is about AI literacy. The way we work on this is actually more than just learning about AI and learning with AI. I'm going to present to you these 9 squares here. So it can be learning from AI, learning with AI, and learning about AI. And it can be students learning from AI, students learning with AI, students learning about AI. Our second layer is about teaching, how teachers teach with AI, generating resources for teaching, how teachers support the students learning with AI, how teachers teach about AI, or the third layer, teachers learning, how teachers learn from AI, how teachers learn with AI, and how teachers learn about AI. I'm going to go through each of these boxes very quickly with some examples of what we're doing here. So first, students learning from AI. This is something that all of us are very familiar with. Students, for instance, students asking ChatGPT to explain a concept, to solve a problem, or even do assignment. I think this is something that many of us are grappling with. And the perspective of learning is basically learning as acquiring knowledge. And we face several challenges with this mode of using generative AI. For instance, AI hallucination, AI providing information that are not accurate, not valid, ethical issues related to this application, and potential biases with the AI model. So this is one way in which students can learn from AI. But it doesn't have to be that way. It can be students learning with AI. When I say students learning with AI, we mean that the AI is providing a supporting role while students actually charge their own directions in their learning. And in this regard, we produce a AI learning companion to partner our students in their learning journey, to engage with nature, and to facilitate their critical thinking. And in this particular project, project is about sustainability. And this particular project actually invited students from the schools to come over to NIE for a one-day workshop. We call it Design Studio about sustainability. And we produced this learning companion using Gemini, actually, Google Gemini. So what we did was to actually use prompt engineering to steer it to interact with students in a certain way. So rather than students asking questions and then they give them answers, in this case, the AI is being prompted to interact in certain ways. So for instance, as the students enter this particular application called CareLink, CareLink because it's about sustainability issue, you start by asking the students their name, and the same name will be used throughout the interaction. So in this way, we sort of personalize the kind of interactions that they can have with the AI. And it presents to them four options. Ask them to upload image, and then the AI can tell them more about the background image and explain about sustainability issue. Okay. For this particular example, we actually uploaded one image from the Yunnan Garden in the university itself. Okay. And then the AI will ask the students, tell me where you took this photo. So this is from NTU Yunnan Garden. And it can then explain the features about the image, the waterfall, the rocks, the greenery. Now, this is actually AI looking at the image, analyze the image, and extract out the relevant features about sustainability. And then you went on to prompt the students about some of the related issues, for instance, water conservation, biodiversity, naturalization. So basically, this is students learning with AI because the students participating in this project, they're new to the issues of sustainability. And they're going to use this information, not just learning from, but they're going to bring all these issues back to the classroom to discuss with their friends and to deepen their inquiry into sustainability issue. So it's just not learning from, but learning with how they make use of this information for other deeper exploration. Teachers generating resources using AI, I think this is also very common. For instance, we can easily generate MCQ questions using ChatGPT. I give you one example here, and this is what I did. And these are the actually questions, options generated by ChatGPT. And what I did was simply to palming the informations about what is AI, the definition, and it actually generated the multiple choice questions for me. And I'm editing one special issues with IEEE TLT, and this is one example in which the teachers can also use generative AI to generate teaching materials. So this particular example is about Chinese poems. Okay? And because learning of Chinese poems is quite challenging, so you can use AI to generate image that can actually bring out the context, the emotions in Chinese poems, and that can help in your teaching. We also know that there are a number of tools that can help us with this. For instance, the Education Copilot, Canva, Camingo. There are many tools that can help us with generating resources for teaching. And about teachers supporting students learning with AI, we have another example in which we think about how to guide the students through a knowledge building inquiry project. So basically, knowledge building is about students coming forth with their own ideas to solve a problem, and they use a collaborative platform called Knowledge Forum. And in this particular case, we think about how to support students discourse for this mode of learning. And we try it out with the design studio that happened 2 years ago. Basically, we're trying to see whether ChatGPT can support students in that discussion. Okay. we tried to look at whether ChatGPT can actually summarize students' discourse. We found that it can do so quite fast and quite easily. We give the ChatGPT about 400 lines of discourse. It can give me 10 key ideas almost immediately. It can propose new ideas, those ideas that are not suggested by the students, but prompts them to think about new ideas. In terms of resources, sources of information, it didn't do so well because at the point in time we used 3.5 that was launched in 2022, and it doesn't give me the updated information. But it can also prompt the students about how they can go about working in groups to deepen their idea and how they can go about improving, advancing the ideas. So this is about how we use ChatGPT to support students learning with AI. And teachers can learn from AI as well. So we develop another learning companion for beginning teachers to learn about how to craft learning objectives. So basically, this is an application that they can learn from, teaching them about what is a good statements about learning objective. They can then craft their own learning objective, and the ChatGPT can actually provide feedback about their statement of learning objective and how to improve that. Teachers learning with AI, and in this regard, we actually developed another application called Knowledge Building Companion that can actually help the teachers to think about their lessons design about knowledge building. And I'm not going to go through the details here, but basically, this application, similar to Kalin that I mentioned earlier, this application allowed teachers to put in their lesson design, and it can then prompt the teachers to think about how to redesign the lesson. Okay, and we realized that this is actually an exploratory project. We realized that teachers did not just take the information wholesale from ChatGPT, but they think about their own experience, they're learning from other workshop, and they integrate all this information with what they got from ChatGPT. And eventually, they then go into prompt further to look for new ideas. So I won't bore you with all the details of that. Finally, learning about AI. And in this case, we focus on developing the AI literacy and readiness for teachers. There are four particular aspects that we focus on. One is knowledge about how AI works, knowledge about how AI can support teaching and learning, skills, how to use it, okay, for instance, how to generate prompts, visions, what is realistic, what are the opportunities, what are the challenges, what are the limitations, and ethical use of AI for teaching and learning. We offer a series of courses for the teachers. You can't see the details here, but basically, we want to be able to move the students, the teachers through different levels of competencies with this series of courses. Now, that is a presentation for what the institution NIE in this particular case is thinking about learning from, learning with, and learning about AI. Now I'm going to address the second question, which particular aspects of AI literacy I think is more critical to address in teacher education at this point in time. And personally, I think intelligent augmentation is important. Basically, how we think about human-centered partnership with AI. AI working with people to enhance their cognitive performance, decision-making, and learning, and not just learning from. So it should be centered around human. So few principles to think about. For instance, AI for human, retaining human agency and critical processes in the learning. So one principle that I always talk about is that if that particular task or thinking is important for teaching, then we cannot replace it with AI, regardless of how AI can do it very well. Okay? We need to retain the part for human. And for teaching and learning, we need to be anchored by pedagogical designs, pedagogical principles, theories about teaching and learning, and of course, AI for good ethical applications. That's important. Just give you one example. I talk about the learning companion for knowledge building. And in this case, we actually think about how to deploy them in the classroom for teachers. So besides teachers interacting individually with AI here, these two bosses, we think about how to bring in other components to complement this process, like how do they do collective reflection, okay? In a team, how do they check in with the leaders, and how do they enhance the lessons design and observe each other's lesson design. Okay, so there are several important design considerations we need to think about. Who is our audience for AI application? What is the pedagogy? What are the technological aspects that we need to think about? Okay, whether it's a transformative use of AI, ethical issues, as well as culture, culture of whether the teachers and students accept the use of AI in the particular context. And we came out with this AI life cycle adapted for use of large language models. Some questions to think about when we want to design the application, we want to develop the applications, and want to deploy them. And so far, we've tried several proof of concepts applications, including what I mentioned earlier, knowledge building learning companion, learning objective tutors, Kalin. We also have other applications we're testing right now. So in short, this is what we are doing in NIE and my personal projects in NIE. Thank you very much. I'll pass the time to David Huang. Oh, sorry, Wang Longxiang.
Now, so for this topic, I think what I'm going to share is going to overlap with some of what Senshia presented, but I see as a chance for me to unpack some of the thoughts he made, uh, and also bringing my own perspective, because I'm more talking about context of smart technology in education, including but not restricted to AI. That's because while another initiative I've been involved in over the last 2 years. Okay, first of all, I'll talk about what smart technology is. Usually, you may see that as a combination of other technologies such as learning analytics, AR, VR, XR, metaverse, IoT, robotics, and so on and so forth. Yeah, so they're working together in maybe an ecosystem of technology. For education's case, is more on smart learning environment they're talking about. Yeah, so we had that initiative involved in was something called Timisoara Declaration. I don't want to go into details about the background of this declaration, but declaration essentially is a group of these researchers in smart learning, working in smart learning environment field. They are looking into drafting this declaration to talk about what should we do and what we shouldn't do for smart learning environment development, or they use the term smart learning ecosystem instead. So that's one point I want to touch on from here. Technologies are smart not because they are capable of replacing human reasoning, but rather because they can help towards achieving a people-centered smartness. So this is a caveat I want to bring. Maybe we push too hard. Maybe we start to push too hard to bring AI to students, and then somehow we might lost our sight of what we should do and what shouldn't do. So the question is about smartness of technology versus smartness of learners. They are not the same type of smartness. So I take this concepts originated from software engineering field because I'm from a computer engineering background, although I've been doing educational research for more than 20 years, so I can bring in a different perspective when looking at this. So adaptivity versus adaptability. Yeah, why they're different. We take this example, a metaphor. We have this kind of point and shoot automatic camera. Yeah, you don't need to be you don't need a professional photographer. Yeah, you just bring this point and shoot camera, and then the AI inside and doing everything for you to do all the adjustment you need. While for professional camera, you know this is a very big thing, and then you need to plug in whatever the zoom or whatever, all these are, yeah, and then it's supposed to be for professional photographer to do all this kind of adjustment. They are very good at that. Yeah, and yeah, so it doesn't need AI to help them at all. Yeah, so in fact, AI might actually make their photos becoming too normal, too ordinary. It's not professional like. Yeah, I mean maybe technically professional, but it's not something like, let's say if they want to take artistic photos that for the time being, AI can help them. Yeah, they have their own style or whatever. So in a sense, point-and-shoot camera is more automatic adaptation by the system. Yeah, that's what we mean by adaptivity of a piece of software. And then for adaptability is more affording users to configure. So that's the major difference between the two. So the question now is here, I ask this question, on this boundless land of learning, who rules over a learner's destiny or destination, whatever? Who determines learning objectives, learning pathways, learning strategies, and learning resources? Yeah. Shall we transform our children to become professional learners that learn and adapt in how to learn? That's a question. Overdoing is worse than underdoing in terms of adaptability. AI becomes adaptive, and what happened? Yeah. So adaptivity does it mean that it's transforming teacher-centered learning into technology-driven learning? Is that what we want? You need to think. From learners' point of view, it's like from over relying to teachers to over relying to technology, on technology. Yeah. So of course, technology could take learning more personalized, but personalized learning doesn't equal to autonomous learning. Yeah. Because our personalized learning is the technology to decide what you should do, is rather than you can decide what you want to do. So that's also in the draft Timisoara Declaration. They said we have to discourage technological laziness. The same question that AI, when ChatGPT comes in, introduced to university, introduced to K to 12 or whoever, we ask this question. Yeah, students become too lazy relying on AI. So I want to raise this. Modern scale media, the godmother of knowledge building. Yeah, it's not the computer that should be doing the diagnosing, the goal setting and planning. It's the student. Computer environment should not be providing the knowledge and intelligence to guide learning, but should be providing and facilitating the structure and tools that enable students to make maximum use of their own intelligence and knowledge, augment their intelligence rather than replacing their intelligence. And Scalmedia made this point in 1989. Yeah, 35 years ago. Okay, so still valid and even more valid than before. So we want to extend the meaning of adaptability beyond the adaptability of system in technological sense. We want the adaptability of learning experience in and out of technological support. Yeah, students can determine what they want to do with or without technology support. Yeah, technology to enhance and augment your ability to learn. We want to move towards that direction. Yeah, rather than replacing your ability to learn or jeopardize your opportunity to learn, the ability to pick up the ability, develop your ability to learn. So we want to withdraw the boundary between human learners and technology in their intentional partnership. Where's the boundary now? We are lost. This is an interesting point where Oregon State University back in last May, yeah, they came out with this nicely drawn this framework. You can see it that way. So it said, okay, Bloom's taxonomy from all the way from remember to create. I think you know what it means. For those, most of you should know what's Bloom's taxonomy. And you see the recommendation here. They start looking at examining the AI capabilities of each of these. And then they say, okay, these are the distinctive human skills that AI cannot do, at least for this point of time. So then they say, okay, this is something that the right-hand side should be something that we're focusing on. And this is a part that actually I can treat it as a more general, terminology, or not terminology, I mean methodology for you to determine where is the boundary. Yeah, so I mean in the future, when the air capability improve a lot, yeah, we can still use back the same one. We can withdraw. We revise this table and see what we should do. Yeah, so indeed, in the declaration, the Timisoara Declaration, there's literacy here, literacy there. They mention all this type of literacy that we should focus on: digital, design, data, evaluation, and I added 3 more, which they didn't mention: information and new media literacy, AI literacy, and privacy literacy. Yeah, so all these are relevant. So they are important not only for learners, but also for learning facilitators. I use the term, yeah, rather than teachers or instructors. We are learning facilitators. We facilitate learning. Yeah. So the point is that what learning facilitators professional development matters beyond the advocates of the current literature. I think learning facilitators should I removed the remember, but it's understanding, applying, analyzing, evaluating to creating not only the technology AI itself, but also how to utilize it for teaching, learning, assessment, but equally important, that's the next point. I raised this point about, for example, just a good teacher should often refrain from direct teaching or giving direct answers to students. This often, I didn't say they always do that. Yeah, often. And then if you're going to introduce AI, we're worried that AI will do this direct teaching or give a direct answers to students. So can they choose or train AI tool to do the same? This is the teacher. We want to provide the development for them in this. Yeah, and refine facilitator technology learner activity system. Yeah, with withdrawn boundaries, role differentiation, and intellectual partnership. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Dr. Loong Siang Ong. I have a lot of questions based on even Professor Seng Chi Ton's presentation, but I will save them for later. Now let's invite our next presenter, Dr. David Huang. I suggest that after David's presentation, we pause for a Q&A because for the next two speaker, we created a Google Doc to collect the questions, if that's okay with everyone. David, the floor is yours for the presentation.
Okay, thank you very much. So I'm David Huang. I'm the Associate Dean from the Office of Education Research. The three of us didn't really plan our sharings, but I think we probably will land something quite interesting and with a very good reiterating some of the key points that we believe at NIE. What I will do is with Seng Chi sharing from the institutional perspective on learning about AI and learning with AI at NIE. What I will do a little bit is about my reflection with regards to how our Office of Education has been conceptualizing future education and how does that relate to AI and so on. And then later on talk about something that I'm doing. So a few years back at NIE, we have developed a framework for us to articulate what do we mean by future education. So this 4-life framework includes, for example, life deep learning that includes really deep mastery of disciplinary knowledge. We have a lifelong learning, which talk about the knowledge, the metacognition, the lifelong dispositions and skills and so on. We have a life-wide learning, talking about the real-world connection, the formal and informal learning and learning in the classroom and outside classroom. And there's a life-wise learning. We talk about things including ethics, values, empathies, and so on and so forth. And something that's in middle, cutting across everything, we think is very important is about learners' social emotional regulation and well-being. Now, this future of education framework, in my view, is also help us to see AI or AIED in a more nuanced way. So earlier on, we talked about the learning with AI. Now here we can say that learning with AI for like deep learning, for example, that could be including things like intelligent tutoring system. I will touch about it later. It could be a life-wide learning, like what Seng Chi has been sharing about this. This tool has been used by students in the NTU campus, Yunnan Garden, and really bring the kind of experience outside the classroom with their classroom learning. Of course, there is also a lifelong learning where how AI can support learner in terms of this lifelong learning journey and efforts, and also life-wise learning in terms of how AI can support students in terms of developing their values, their character, resilience as a learning companion. And more importantly, right, AI can be used as a social-emotional supporting tool for students in terms of their self-regulation, emotional development, and so on and so forth, right? So we do see this framework that we developed at NIE for future education and which anchors the kind of many of the work we have been doing at NIE can be further enabled and enhanced by research in AIED that really comprehend and enables these different kinds of learning at NIE. So another part that we have been doing at NIE is that we have this communication such as SingTeach, which is an online article journals that actually reaching out to teachers. It's not just for Singapore teachers, it's actually open for teachers from the global in different communities as well. So one of the recent issue that we have published is Human-Machine Synergy, as edited by Wen-Ni, is one of our colleagues at NIE. So this usually for our SingTeach, it captures things such as the big ideas where Wen-Ni shared about the human-AI synergy. And we also have featured key people like Seng Chi, who did the first presentation just now. I was featured about the navigating the future of our education from perspective on AI integration. Of course, some other research work has been done at NIE, but more importantly, we also bring teachers' experience and their reflection into this sharing as well, as a way to enhance building our community in terms of understanding and also the sharing practice and so on and so forth. Now for the next part, I will share a little bit about what I have been doing and something that I think is important. Now, in that regards, I will share something that I started with for AIED, which is something very established in the AIED literature, but also pretty problematic, which is this thing called intelligent tutoring system. So in this work, what we have done is that we have recently produced a literature review for intelligent tutoring system for K-12 math learning, and we have put forth our critique to this part of the literature and suggesting ways to forward. So just for audience who have who want to understand about intelligent tutoring system a little bit more, the system basically have a three main key component called domain model, which captures the kind of knowledge that students need to be learned. There is a learner model, basically captures students, the status of their knowledge, as well as some other characteristics such as their emotional states and their engagement level and so on and so forth. And there is also a pedagogical model, basically giving pedagogical instructions for students to learn. Now, this is being done through this outer loop and the inner loop. Now, basically, the outer loop works by curating the task for students to work on, where the inner loop basically is by looking at students' performance and student characteristics and curate the kind of pedagogical strategies that best support students. Now, this system claims to be like what Longxiang earlier on to say, to provide personalized learning for students in the way that the learning is really personalized to students in terms of what being sensitive to what they don't know, and therefore being able to curate the task that really help them to learn that they don't know. And also the pedagogical approach is claimed to be able to provide the kind of pedagogical support that is really fit for students' learning needs and learning style and so on and so forth. So everything seems to be perfect based on what has been articulated in this concept. Now, in our work, we also look at some of the existing data sets in addition to some of the meta-analysis. In many of the meta-analysis, there are evidence showing that intelligent tutoring system is only have non-negative effects on students' learning. But some of the recent meta-analysis showing slightly more positive learning outcomes. Now, for our team, we also look at one of the data sets from a systement. Basically, we map students' learning in terms of fraction division, fraction multiplication, and whole number division into this graph in terms of the learning gain, which is the delta of how system estimates students' mastery of this concept at the end of the learning and before learning, as well as the learning events, meaning how many times students tried on this topic. Now, what we are able to say from this graph is that generally the learning gain is distributed tightly around 0, which has a very slight skew towards positive. Now, what does it mean is either the system has some difficulty in estimating students' mastery of a particular topic well, right? Or students have some difficulty really to learn in the ITS. So our literature review basically trying to find out, say, now what are the opportunities, what are the issues and challenges? Now, we just want to share from the perspective of what do I think as an important thing to be addressed. It's really to for both the researcher and the policymaker and the practitioners to understand where, when, and how to best use AI and for what purpose. So our critique in this review is that the utility of the existing intelligent tutoring system is constrained by a very narrow conceptualization of personalized learning, like what Longxiang has been saying earlier on, right? So this personalized learning based on this literature is about the system deciding on what students don't know and provide the pedagogical support that the system think is the best. where the student's voice and student's agency and autonomy and choice are very much being undermined. And also there's a very limitation in terms of learning outcomes. So far, the intelligent tutoring system are helping students for structured learning about procedural knowledge, or to some extent about the correction of misconceptions. But if you look at the kind of learning that we hope to develop according, for example, to our 4-Life framework, this part of learning is important, but it's very limiting in terms of the learning outcomes. And we also say that the literature really lack of a consistent positive efficacy showing the effect of this system in supporting the learning, even for that limited kind of learning outcomes. So that really suggests that the need to have a very rigorous evaluation of ITS efficacy before the policymakers and practitioners adopt it for practice use. And it's also very important with regards to AI literacy. It's about to be critically address the broader ethical issues and AI literacies and implications for teacher education. And coming from the researcher's perspective, we think there are a lot of ways to improve the intelligent tutoring system really to support student learning. And that effort, we argue, need to be more consolidated and more concerted towards a more systematic and coherent improvement for ITS in terms of learning designs. Right? So these are some of the key recommendations that we are learning from. I mean, after we learn from the literature, some of the recommendations we are putting forward. Yeah, so I will stop my sharing from here, and very happy to hear some of the feedback and critiques and having the conversation. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Dr. David Wong. So before we jump into the recorded video presentation, for now, we open the floor to our participants for question to all of you from NIE. So I will first kick off the conversation first. I have 2 questions, one more at the individual level for each of you, and then the other one more at the institutional level. Of course, based on my observation when it comes to AI and education and preparing teachers, we also saw from another Singaporean speakers from Teachers Academy, from MOE, Singapore is quite advanced in many ways compared to a lot of other countries, as well as from a lot of, our participants country here. So currently there is a little bit of, there are ongoing debates about the pedagogical framework, or also known as AI competency framework, that are developed by, for example, Council of Europe, European Union, European SchoolNet, UNESCO, mainly UNESCO. Now I think OECD, they have started on similar work as well. And at NIE, you are also working on similar framework, right? Mainly to prepare teachers for teaching in the era of AI. So one key aspect about it is whether pedagogy should come first and technology. Of course, a lot of learning scientists, they believe that pedagogy is always first before technology. So do you think some scholars believe that, including one of the speakers we had for thematic webinar, if you have participated the first one on the first thematic webinar, where he thinks that it's misleading when it comes to building pedagogical framework or AI competency framework, because a lot of the conversations about what actually teachers need and learners need are in a way hiding away in this conversation. What do you think about that? And how do you think both educators and other education stakeholders like policymakers should approach this area of pedagogical framework development or AI competency development to support teachers? So maybe we can hear on that, then I will raise the individual questions if our participants don't have any questions.
Maybe I can start first. I
Thank
believe
you.
that as educators, pedagogy always comes first. No doubt that technology is important. Technological aspect is important. From my own experience, we design something that is pedagogically sound for the students' learning. But at the deployment level, we would face some technological issues. Development and deployment level, we would face some technological issues. And I believe that problem can only be solved if we combine both the pedagogical knowledge as well as technical knowledge together. I give you one example. So when we deploy our learning companion using generative AI, at the exploratory stage, looks quite okay. It works perfectly fine. But at the deployment stage, when you start to think about many students coming together, the cost goes up because the charge by token. And then the bandwidth issue, the user design issue all came in together. So we can't avoid those issues. Okay. But we also cannot avoid the pedagogical issues. So I believe pedagogy first, no doubt, but we need to work very closely with the technical team to make sure the solutions is eventually viable for the learners. So that's my response. Thank you. Up to the rest to respond.
Maybe I'll just add from there. I really like this question, and I also agree with what Senchi has been sharing. But let me push the boundary a bit further also, right? So I will argue that before even we talk about pedagogy, we also need to think about that in view of what AI can do and they can work with human in future, what are the knowledge and skills and dispositions are still necessary and important for human to learn? Or what are the new knowledge, skills, and dispositions we should develop? And that probably to me is even more critical than pedagogy itself. So there are also implications for teacher learning as well. It's not just about at a pedagogical level, how teacher works with AI and work with students in terms of for learning to take place, but rather it's also what kind of skills and knowledge that teacher need to have, or new skills and knowledge that teacher need to have in order for teacher to work more optimally with AI and the students for certain kind of learning or certain kind of learning outcomes. And that really triggers us to think more fundamentally about education and the role education or teacher education per se. Thank you.
Thank you. Dr. Luisian Ong, would you like to add?
I don't know whether the time permit, but if I'm giving
I'm keeping a track of time, so no worries.
So I'm keeping if I'm giving a quick this follow-up of one of the points that Senchi made is about pedagogy drive the technology design. Yeah, so he said when the deployment, that may be a different story. So I'm looking at another angle, which is that student psychology, especially when the AI, I will come out a chatbot. I'm talking about AI chatbot. Recently, we've been exploring collaboration opportunity with the curriculum planning division in MOE, or Ministry of Education, mother tongue branch, language. Yeah. So we are working on something like we are just testing up some ideas, and in the future we might develop a proposal, research proposal. So that one we're using want to use a chatbot to support students reading comprehension. Yeah. So the thing is that we have developed some we developed a quick prototype which I think that okay, we can ask some big questions to the students. These are all pedagogically sound big questions. And then I tested it role-playing a student, and then I realized that I just try to avoid answering those big questions because I don't want to do composition again when I'm interacting with chatbot. So this is another issue we need to consider. We need to keep students' interest, especially when using that for self-directed learning purpose rather than the classroom, the teacher pushing them to use. Yeah, so I mean this is another dimension we need to take note.
Thank you. My next question is mainly for David and Long Xiang, because in your presentation, I love that you have a framework where, you were focusing more about, you were taking the AI in education approach towards building that framework. That is, if I capture it correctly, let me quickly see. So it's on lifelong, life deep, life wise, and life wise. So that's very interesting. And another thing that you have mentioned was human-centered partnership. So currently there is also, debates among education stakeholders, especially learning scientists, whether, can AI support human learning? So what do you think of that? And also, Sangchi, if you have any comments on that, you can comment as well. So do you think AI can support human learning?
Maybe I will start first and just kick the ball rolling. I'm sure Senshi and the Longxiang have more insights to share. I think definitely AI can support human learning, right? So let's go back to the one of the earlier stage where there is this Go competition where AlphaGo and the human in the competition, right? So in that kind of competition, AlphaGo made one move, which at that time, according to the report, right, is one of, don't know, 1 million had a chance in terms of that move may happen. It rarely took place. It really take the expert player off the chair because it never expected that move. So it's really some insightful move that win the game, right? But there was also a subsequent game in that competition where the human also made another move, which again, right, is very, very profound and insightful move. And during the interview, it was mentioned that had not the AlphaGo made such a move or being able to have this competition, human would not have been able to make that move and create that new knowledge, right? So I will say in that kind of competitive settings, right, we are seeing both AI and human generating new knowledge that are useful for human to learn from. And of course, we are also looking at ways in which in many situations where even in that kind of collaborative settings, whether AI and human can work together in terms of really making human to learn better. And I really like this question because what we really want to emphasize is by working together with the AI, we want human to learn. And of course, we need to ask what we want human to learn from there. Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much, David. Longxiang and then Cheng, if you have any additional comments.
Well, just again, just a quick follow-up because we're talking about 4 lives. I've been actually imagining that we can actually develop chatbots for these purposes. Yeah, to guide the learners going through all these 4 types or separately. Yeah, these 4 types of learning disposition, you want to call it that way. So even for lifelong learning, that's possible that for chatbot to help guiding them. So if I'm going to build on the point I made just now, I said, okay, we want students to be able to develop the ability to learn. But of course, at the beginning, student may not be good at it. So we still need AI support. So I see adaptability as kind of a continuum. Yeah, we can move from adaptability, which is actually providing students more scaffolds. And then not only to learn the content knowledge, to pick up the general 21st century competency, but also ability to learn. And gradually they fade out. This kind of scaffold fade out to become more adaptable. The student decide what to do with AI rather than the AI decide what to do with students. Yeah, so that's my point.
Thank you. Yes, please, Cheng.
Yeah, maybe I can just quickly add. I think also responding to the comment. So basically, I think we focus on human-centric design, human at the center, basically, for all these applications. And basically, what we want to make sure is that whatever we do, make sure that the technology does not rob the learners of the learning opportunities. But on the other hand, if we can leverage the affordance of technology, we can actually do many wonders. Some examples, for instance, recently we actually have a AI room, a classroom that can actually capture a lot of hidden data that teachers may not know. So for instance, if you conduct lessons in the classroom, it can tell you like where are you in the classroom, where do you position yourself, do you walk around the classroom, what kind of questions do you ask, how many % of the time is spent on teachers questioning, how many % of time is spent on teachers lecturing, and so on and so forth. So at the end of the lessons, it can give you almost immediate feedback about your teaching performance. And that provide very interesting data, hidden data that you may not have without the AI. So I think it's a matter of how you leverage the technology affordance and make sure that that is to serve human learning. So that's my quick response. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Currently, there is a question and compliment for you in the chat box from Laura Sinoros from University of Sopron. She says that excellent presentations. And previously, I'm just going to read it out. Previously, I thought that AI can be used to substitute some human pedagogical tasks. which is a key topic in Europe due to teacher shortages. But now I'm not sure about it. Technology-centered education pictures a world of education that scares me. That is why I'm not sure if that is the right way to go. What is your view on this? What should be the principles for going to that direction? You have already shared your views that are similar to, responding to this question. Would you like to add anything else? And Laura, I think if you want to directly ask the questions, or if you want to add anything, in addition to what you have written in the chat box, you can also please feel free to speak up. Yes, Laura.
Yes, hello, thank you. So that was really interesting what I learned from the colleagues from Singapore. And so I thought that it would be so easy to use artificial intelligence to substitute some teachers' tasks. And I thought that it's a good idea, but now after listening to our colleagues, I'm not so sure about it. So then but because of the teacher shortages and because of the way of technology, so this is where we're going. And I just really would like to know, like, what principles should we follow? So I mainly got answers from the colleagues that we still keep the human-centered education in focus. But if you have anything to add on this, it will be appreciated. Thank you.
Thank you,
Maybe
Laura.
a quick response from me. So when at least when I am, and my colleague also, I think we'll talk about using AI, we do not think about substitution, but basically I think we think about transformation, how that kind of combination between AI and human can change the way we teach and learn. It can bring across new ways of teaching and learning. So I think if we start thinking about substitution, then that becomes a way of replacing human. But if you think about complementary, how that transform can bring new opportunities, that will actually push us to think about new opportunities or new ways of teaching and learning. So that's my quick response.
Thank you. Anyone else?
Can I add something which I don't really answer the question directly, but maybe let me share one thought or challenge that I think is important, or I'm at least I'm facing, right, that related to this topic. So on the one hand, we see something as very aspiring, like what this whole landscape of learning can be transformed, right? So in order to do this, we have to do some very deep work in terms of really conceptualizing what is the new learning, what the new knowledge or skills to be developed, right? At the same time, the technology is moving very fast, right? So what was not possible yesterday all of a sudden become possible 2 days later. For example, right, we know that GPT-4o can deal with multimodal data, right? So just in one of the conference we had last week, we were talking about generative AI doesn't have history and experience, and then the next day when I come back to office says that ChatGPT can actually make reference to the past records and the communication and able to deal with that. So things are moving very fast. But the another part of the challenge is that when we try to tie down that technology to say, let's develop something that's really meaningful for education, then all of a sudden, my collaborators from AI will be saying, oh, this one we have this limitation, and that one we have that limitation, and a lot of things seems to be very hard to really pin down and get something to be developed. So really find that the kind of sweet spot where it is something that's transformative, like what Senchi is mentioning, something really make use of some of the latest technology and yet is doable and deliverable. I think it's really something that we have to be very careful in planning and really to make things happen. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you, David. Looking at the time, we need to, sorry, Long Xiang, I know you have a comment. Maybe we can come
No
back.
comment, no comment.
Thank you.
Okay, no comment.
Thank you. So I saw that one video is 5 minutes, another one is 7, so we have 12 minutes, and then we will invite Eudora to present her presentation. So David, the floor is yours again to share the videos. Maybe we can start with Dr. Kenneth and then Dr. Ibrahim, or in any way that you see, you see fit. Yeah. Yes, now it's okay. So maybe you can.
I cannot join live. However, I hope this recording captures the essence of our discussion as if we were connecting in a real time. While I do have some limited information about myself on this slide, my research emphasizes on AI literacy, exploring how computational thinking and engineering principles prepare students for technological advancements in our school setting. These intersections enable effective collaboration, equipping learners with essential skills for the digital age. Today, therefore, I will discuss the crucial aspects of AI in our school setting. I am sure by now many great shares and details being presented by my colleagues already. But if I may touch base very briefly, AI involves creating systems that mimic human cognitive abilities like communication, reasoning, learning, and problem solving. Examples may include machine learning for predictions, natural language processing for understanding speech, and neural networks simulating the brain. These advancements, noted by several researchers, have advanced industries globally. Alan Turing's Turing test, which was proposed in 1950, defines machine intelligence as the ability to interact distinguishably by humans. As Stephen Hawking warned, the development of full artificial intelligence could spell the end of the human race. This caution underscores the profound impact and ethical considerations surrounding AI's evolution. Contrary to cautionary views, some see AI as the beginning of a golden age, pushing boundaries once confined to science fiction. They believe we have only begun to explore AI's potential to innovate and transform industries. So, from cautionary to optimistic perspectives on AI's potential, these views drive my approach to integrating AI in education. To be more specific, I aim to embed AI practices or tools in teacher education and the student's learning environment. This involves navigating complexities such as teacher readiness, satisfaction, preparation, and practices, alongside understanding students' knowledge, perception, characteristics, and not to mention school dynamics. My goal is to strategically leverage AI to enhance teaching methodologies, empower educators, and optimize students' learning outcomes. In order to achieve this, to enhance AI understanding among teachers and students, AI literacy is very crucial. AI literacy may include understanding, applying, evaluating, and creating AI, as well as AI ethics. This will equip individuals with essential skills and enhances competitiveness in the job market. AI literacy empowers children to use and evaluate AI critically, safeguarding them from potential risks. Therefore, integrating AI literacy into education prepares both teachers and students to effectively navigate and harness AI's potentials. Moving to current AI literacy efforts, STEM education reforms globally, like AI for K-12 in the US and AI Singapore in Singapore, integrate AI resources. In schools, initiatives such as my current work about Intellect Project introduce zero-coding AI tools for gamified learning, including facial emotion recognition and automated assessment systems. These efforts showcase AI's impact on education, enhancing teaching methods and students' learning. Moving forward, AI overall transforms education by personalizing learning through tailored pedagogy, enhancing critical skills like problem solving and collaboration, improving career opportunities with early AI education, helping educators to understand the learning dynamics, and boosting social interaction and learning motivation via smart robots. if implemented properly. Moving forward, integrating AI at the same time in schools requires addressing some key considerations. Number one, ethical transparency to minimize AI biases or inclusivity. Number two, security, addressing privacy and surveillance concerns. Number three, perceptions. Educators and parents, they hesitate due to the unfamiliarity. And number four, social impact, reduce human interaction affecting children's social skills. If I recall that in terms of the social environment, involvement goes with the robotics, but if not implemented properly, it may isolate individuals from the engagement. And finally, is research and funding challenges. It is quite expensive, so limited resources and high cost for AI tools in early education, it is quite a challenging point. Those are the references that you can take a look at it in detail. With that, I'd like to thank you all for listening to my presentation today. Once again, due to the time constraints, I have presented a very, very condensed version of the materials. For any further questions or discussions, please feel free to reach out to me via email as shown on this slide. Thank you once again.
Okay, so I will share my another colleague's presentation in their video as well.
Hello, friends and colleagues. I'm Kenneth Lim, a senior education research scientist at the National Institute of Education, Nanyang Technological University, Singapore. I'm here to introduce my work to you, and essentially it's around what is known as the science of learning, with specific focus on neuroergonomics. So I'll just begin, is to have you to try to tie these strands together: local knowledge, campus knowledge, a maker-centric approach, using devices which students build themselves to learn about their own physiological responses, how generative AI comes into all this, how it can tie with education for sustainable development. I'd like to close off with the following. So what you're about to see is learners using the Internet of Things, data science, and generative AI to understand their own affective states with a view to developing empathy and environmental stewardship. The IoT devices are conceptualized, designed, and built by the students themselves. And yep, I'll just play the video. There's no soundtrack to this video. So here we have one of our students in an environment, and as you can see from the subtitle, the learners photograph scenes which they find interesting to them. What I'm showing you is an approach. So for example, here's the scene, and it says there that the affective state, the learner's emotional state, is calm. And how do we know that? Because here we see that the learner is wearing a wearable device designed by his peers or even by himself, measuring his stress level. Now, while he's doing that, the learner is encouraged to use generative AI, not in terms of chatbots, not in terms of text generation, not in terms of cheating, for example, but in terms of, say, prognostication, image modification, image editing, together with learning about prompt engineering to selectively to select parts of the image and to apply phenomenon of their choice onto this selection. So here, for example, we see the rather nice, the rather scenic environment was flooded, and therefore it really gives him a depiction of how the environment is very vulnerable to sea level change, and this causes him a stress reaction. and the stress reaction is picked up by the devices, and the feeds then the feeds then just respond to that, and then and with a consequence that the learner is distressed. It points to note from here that the source images are taken by the students themselves. Therefore, there's learner agency. The source images are from within their own lived experience. Therefore, there's authenticity and embodiment. Learners exercise their intuition and decide which parts of the source image will likely be affected. Learners will likely differ in which parts of the scene may be affected, but there will still be some kind of effective response. Seeing for themselves their own physiological and neurological responses can be in itself a learning goal. Just as significant is the potential for such a pedagogical approach to evoke empathy and pro-social values, which is not possible with the use of normal images. Because if one were to use stock images from the internet, these would not be authentic to the learner. If one were to use images which the learner himself takes, these are not predictive if generative AI is not being used. And it's applicable to a wide range of phenomena, not just sea level change, but also, for example, like social unrest, urban growth, and so on and so forth. Advantages over augmented reality, virtual reality would be affordability, scalability, robustness, and learner agency.
Thank you so much, David, for presenting Dr. Ibrahim Yetter and your colleague, Dr. Kenneth Whitelim's presentation. So there is a Google Doc again for everyone's reference to list your questions for both of these speakers. Since they are not here, we'll not take any questions live. And if you have any questions for our speakers from NIA, you can still post them in the chat. And before we move on to Theodora's presentation, a big thank you to all of you, and also for engaging in the question and answer session to clarify the topics further. Right now, we are moving on to Europe, and for this we are inviting our last speakers for today, Dr. Theodora Kakori from Cyprus Pedagogical Institute, associated with Ministry of Education, Sport and Youth. She's currently a digital education teacher trainer in the institution. Theodora, the floor is yours. Oh, you have already shared the slide. Perfect.
Thank you, Johnny. Good morning, everyone. Good morning in Europe. Good afternoon in Asia for all colleagues. Actually, I'm really excited about what I have heard already from the Singapore University and professors there investigating a lot of aspects of AI. I'm going to be a little bit differentiate than the previous presenters, since we actually engage in a practical way on AI. So I don't know why it's okay. So before, I would like to share with you some facts about my country. It's the smallest actually country in Eastern Mediterranean Sea. Less than 1.3 million population, and it's are you seeing my presentation, Jody? Yeah, okay. And as you see from the facts presented here, we are divided in two since 1974 and struggling for unification. It's one of our political facts that someone has to know to understand the culture that our education is based on. So the Cyprus Pedagogical Institute is the national body under the Ministry of Education for teachers' professional development. We organize training for in-service teachers and school managers, offering compulsory, optional, as well as intervention programs in schools. We support teachers, further professional development in all areas. as facilitators, as trainers, as supporters, but we also provide them tools, frameworks, and the majority of us are teachers from all fields and grades, seconded to the CPI. So that's why I am seconded there. An ICT background with after 25 years in education, mainly at the upper secondary grades, so 16, 17 classes. And the last 6 years, I am here at the Cyprus Pedagogical Institute, dealing mainly with the educational technology department, digital education, learning environments, digital and AI literacy. And of course, we coordinate annual programs, we design, we support, we facilitate both schools, teachers, and students, as you will see in the next slide. I also have duties as a learning designer on Moodle, on our learning environment. And my interests are also around humanoid robots and AI literacy working groups. It's crucial to understand that Cyprus is not so far with digital education as Singapore, if I have to compare these two countries. So we are an EU member state, so we align with digital education plans and policies that are decided and directed mainly in our bigger family, EU. So we comply with digital education action plan. We have developed our own digital education policy document, and we comply with digital skills promotion aiming to digital transition. I prefer the term transition than transformation. So CPI's action are mainly focused on learning approaches and environments, on specific thematic areas, and we take actions towards both approaches and environments for teacher training, for educational programs for schools and teachers, and we also participate in research projects, mainly European-funded research projects, aiming to support our evidence-based policy, evidence-based actions towards digital competences, assessment, STEM education, media literacy, AI, of course, and everything that has to do with digital competences. That's why we fully adapt all European digital competences frameworks, both for schools, teachers, and citizens. You have to recall Lydia's presentation about all these frameworks and tools used to support us towards digital transition. We use and we promote and we integrate self-reflection and self-reflection tools into this process. So we use Selfie for organizations, for schools. We use Selfie for teachers further professional digital competence development. And we have tried PIX. It's a French tool developed in France for students, but not yet applied. We use several tools towards this way. So it's important to focus on what we aim to. Our focus is to build, to have a digitally competent school. Towards that pillar, you see here several programs, annual and projects running under this pillar. We aim to strengthen a teacher to be digitally competent. So we run other programs involving teachers. We have research projects. For example, AI for EDU, it's a project that we built a tutoring system for teachers. I will explain later on. And also for students. So you can see our different key pillars, frameworks around it, projects, and research-based, evidence-based policy. So it's important to let you know about one of the most important programs we run annually. So it's the Innovative Schools and Teacher Coaches. We emphasize the goal of having teachers in schools ready to support other teachers. So we prepare teachers, teacher coaches through this program. We train them, performing self-assessment, etc., and providing them and support them to create an action plan for digital improvement, in digital competence improvement of their schools. And we prepare these teacher coaches to support other teachers in the school. Another training program, specially designed in a distance mode, is Teachers Digital Competence Development. It's a MOOC designed and offered in our Moodle platform. It's consisted of 10 courses, so teachers perform their self-reflect phase. They can choose and set their priorities, so design their own learning goals, select courses, attend courses, prepare. It's about 30 hours each course, so it's loaded. It's very heavy loaded program, and at the end they get certified. So the main issue here is to give teachers their personalized learning path, and the chance to create their own competences. So another initiative is the digital supported learning environment. Very proud of it. We have designed it. It's a space, a physical space, but a virtual one also. There's a 360 presentation around it. So the philosophy supports both AI, VR, AR, all modern technologies, and it's a different approach of learning where teachers are coming here, they're experiencing in a circle of learning, both investigating, designing, promoting, all competences in one space. And coming now to the main issue of my today's presentation, how does my institution approach? We are at a very early, very premature steps, but we collaborate with our partners in Europe. So on a policy level, since we are under the ministry, we adapt competences, frameworks, tools, and guidelines developed in Europe, but also UNESCO. We are expecting now the new competency framework for teachers in September in Paris Convention. So we adapt them. We don't have our own educational strategy on AI, but we are working on it. It's under development. And we emphasize on teach the trainer. So we teach trainers here at the Cyprus, or facilitators, as has been said before, to be ready to understand what is AI and how we can use AI for learning. So these are our two main, let's say, pillars of interest. And then we teach and support teachers, mostly with creating or designing MOOCs, workshops, programs, short, long trainings. Cypriots are not very well, they don't like distance education. We are a very small country. We are very human-centered approaching training, but we try to shift towards that, aiming to give them more support and more resources. And this year we have under emphasis the community of practice. So we're gonna create more networks of teachers to support. Let me just say that we are also engaged, I am engaged into a research project designing a conversational AI assistant, a clearly pedagogical environment. It's gonna be a teacher and the student tutor, having behind ChatGPT one of the models in any case, but purely designed to support teachers of biology and history in a pilot of 4 countries. When we have further news about it, we will let you know. And exceeding my time, thank you, Jody, for understanding which specific aspects. I'm a practitioner. My institution, I fully understand that time is crucial for teachers. The technology accelerated the process of tools and means. So we have to prioritize learning for AI for teachers in a way that they will not, it will not interfere into everyday practice. So we have to find solutions, create a curriculum, AI literacy curriculum for teachers. And of course, the main issue is how we equipment with all necessary tools, knowledge, experiences, community practice, how is learning supported and scaffolded by AI? Not just use, I don't know, prompting engineering. I mean, we have to be evident, we have to have evidence-based knowledge around AI, but we need for that an AI literacy curriculum for teachers, which I hope that based on what I have seen and experienced with your community, I think I have in mind what might be and which collaboration should promote this idea. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Theodora. It's really great to see a lot going on in Europe, especially now in Cyprus. If I may quickly raise a question related to digital literacy and AI literacy. In your work scope, are you approaching this separately? Because if you remember during the first individual presentation, one of the speakers from Estonia, Emmanuel, he shared his view on this and we had a discussion as a group as well. Do you think digital literacy should be separated from AI literacy, or AI literacy can be addressed under digital literacy or digital competence?
No, I am sure that AI is a tool, a technology tool that can support us towards digital competence. So as you know, in Digicom 2.2, AI has been integrated, and we have cases there to use for teaching and learning. We miss the point, we miss the AI competences integrated into digital competences for teachers. So that's why I was talking about an AI literacy curriculum. But of course, we expect that after UNESCO's, let's say, framework, which will be announced in September, and JRC's work that I know, I was last week in Brussels working with them on AI again. They are trying to upgrade and integrate into DigiComp.edu, which is digital competences framework for teachers, AI special competences or cases and scenarios. So no, it's not something separated from digital competences. Today we have AI, tomorrow probably we have something another technology, but it's very important and crucial to intervene now, due to the fast evolution of this technology.
Thank you so much. Looking at the time, we are slightly running over the usual session time. So we really appreciate those of you who are still here and staying with us. Let me quickly share my screen again so that we can conclude the session. So first of all, thank you so much to our speakers today, Dr. Theodora Kakori, Professor Sangchitan, Dr. David Huan, Dr. Lung Siang Wong, Dr. Ibrahim Yater, and Dr. Kenneth for contributing to today's session with such excellent conversations. If you have, those of you who still have questions for them, you can email them to me and then I will convey them to the speakers. And also, please don't forget there is a Google Sheet for Dr. Ibrahim and Dr. Kenneth. If you have questions for them, please list them there and then we will upload with their responses and the recording and everything on the e-learning platform, hopefully by early next week. So with that, we have the last round of individual presentation next week. So that will be the final round. For that last session, you will have speakers from Australia, Dr. Selina and Korea, Dr. Yusan An, and from United Kingdom, from Europe. So we'll have Dr. Lavinia, so Dr. Elizabeth Wilson, Dr. Gabriela Rodolico, and Dr. Donish. We are still confirming with some of these speakers. So in case anything changes, we will post it through emails. So please look out for email notification from us. And with that, we wish you a great weekend and evening. Those of you who are in Asia, because the day has already ended, and those of you who are in Europe, have a very good day. Thank you so much.